Science and technology hold the key to the progress and development of any nation. Technology plays a fundamental role in wealth creation, improvement of the quality of life, and real economic growth and transformation in any society. In this photo story, we are going to showcase the historical timeline of science and technology in Philippine history. To start off, we have the pre-Spanish period. The Philippines has few written information with regards to its society, culture, and technology before the Spanish arrived. Through archaeological findings, it enabled to trace the beginning of how the Filipinos lived with the use of science and technology. Archaeological findings showed that modern men from Asian mainland first came over land and across narrow channels to live in Batangas and Palawan about 48,000 BC. They settled in different areas across the country and made simple tools and weapons of stone flakes and later developed new skills like sewing and polishing stones. During 3000 BC, they learned to produce adze, ornament of seashells and pottery that prospered for 2000 years until competition arrived with the Chinese porcelains. Eventually, they learned how to use metals as their tools, and so-called Iron Age lasted until the 3rd century BC to the 11th century AD. During this time, Filipinos were involved in ore mining, such as copper, gold, bronze, and iron. Early Filipinos have also engaged themselves into weaving, shipbuilding, mining, and farming that led them in creating the finest products of engineering, which is the Banawi rice terraces. Early Spanish chronicles also noted that early Filipinos built a refined plank-built warship called Caracoa that well suited for inter-island trade. Before the Spaniards came, Filipinos were already aware of activities and practices related to science and technology. Next is the Spanish colonial period. When the Spaniards colonized the Philippines, it has contributed the growth of science and technology in the country. They have introduced formal education and founded scientific institutions. Parish schools were established where they taught religion, reading, writing, arithmetic, and music. Natives were taught a more advanced methods in agriculture. Later on, they have established colleges and universities around the country, including the oldest university in Asia, which is the University of Santo Tomas. Medicine was prioritized during the Spanish colonization, especially in the later years. Spaniards made contributions in the field of engineering by constructing government establishments, churches, roads, bridges, and forts. The galleon trade made a big impact in the economic growth of the Philippines. Spaniards gave priority to the galleon trade due to its potential to make huge profits. That is why agriculture and industrial development were not given focus and were neglected during this time. The third one is the American period and post-Commonwealth era. In this era, the Americans replaced Spaniards after they ruled the country, and the progress of science and technology has continued under the rule. The establishment of Bureau of Government Laboratories was made in July 1, 1901 by the Philippine Commission, which served a purpose to study the tropical disease and laboratory projects on the country, and was later on replaced by the Bureau of Science in 1905 that became the primary research center of the country. While on December 8, 1933, the National Research Council of the Philippines was established. It was during the American period when science was inclined towards agriculture, food processing, forestry, medicine, and pharmacy, and not much focus were given on the development of industrial technology due to free trade policy with the United States that nurtured an economy geared towards agriculture and trade. The Bureau of Science was replaced by the Institute of Science in 1946. In 1950, there were reports made by the U.S. Economic Survey about the Philippines' problem with regard to science and technology, such as a lack of basic information, no support, minimal budget, and low compensation. During the regimen of Carlos P. Garcia in the 1958, The Philippine Congress passed the bill entitled the Science Act of 1958, which goals is to establish the National Science Development Board. Following is the Marcos era. It was only during the Marcos presidency where science was given importance. Priority in the advancement of science and technology were given. In his State of Nation address, Marcos declared that there is a need for science in public high school, and with the help of Department of Education, in partnership from the National Science Development Board, it aims to provide science teaching equipment for a period of 4 years. In 1968, he also recognized that technology was the top reason in economic development and gave extra funds to support projects in applied science and science education. While in 1969, he allotted large amount of war damage funds to private universities to encourage them to courses that focus on science, technology, and research. In 1970, he emphasized that by upgrading the science curriculum and teaching equipment is crucial to the science development program. Furthermore, he declared Presidential Decree No. 49, Series of 1972 as a support for promoting the scientific research and invention. Aside from that, one of his greatest contributions is the establishment of PAG-ASA, which function is to give environmental protection and to utilize scientific knowledge to ensure the safety of the nation. He also established the National Academy of Science and Technology in 1976 to have scientists who's experts in science and technology. In 1986, he also established campuses of Philippine Science High School in the Visayas and Mindanao. It encouraged the youth in these areas to choose a career in science and technology. It also aims to tap the potential students on the said regions. The last one is the Fifth Republic. After the term of President Marcos, Corazon Aquino replaced him in the presidential seat, and on her term in 1986, she replaced the National Science and Technology Authority to Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, giving the Science and Technology a seat in the government cabinet. It was during the Philippine Development Plan for the years 1987-1992 where the role of science and technology in the nature economy was highlighted. In 1990, State of Nation Address of President Corazon Aquino said that science and technology development should be in the top 3 priorities of the government to implement the development plan they have made. In 1989, the budget allocation for science and technology was increased, but later on 1990 to 1991, it was cut down by 14%, and in 1992, it was increased again by 50%. She also encouraged Filipino scientists and inventors to put back Philippines and second in Japan when it comes to the field of science and technology. Here in 1998, it was estimated that the Philippines had 3,000 competent scientists and engineers. It was during the Fifth Republic where the government provided 3,500 scholarships for students who are interested in taking up courses related to science and technology. Schools became modernized and updated by having additional high-tech equipment. It was also during this time when science and technology personnel were given priority by the government by approving the Public Act No. 8439 in 1997, which entitled Magna Carta for Science and Technology Personnel. Its purpose is to give incentives and rewards to people who made an impact and influential in the field of science and technology. Numerous laws and projects related to science were made to push technology forward to increase the economic level of the country, like RA 9367 Biofuels Act that promotes the development and usage of biofuels throughout the country. That is all for our photo story. I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching.